No one would know what my marriage is really like. From the outside, it looks fine, stable, quiet, but behind closed doors, I feel unwanted in ways I don't even know how to explain anymore. I'm 28. My husband is 32. We've been together almost 10 years. And for almost all of it, our intimate life has felt empty. We're not passionate. We're not curious. We're barely connected. We're intimate maybe once a month, sometimes twice. And every year, I bring up the same concerns. Every year, I hear the same response. I'll do better. Nothing ever changes. Over 10 years, I can count on one hand the number of times I felt truly fulfilled. That alone is hard to admit. He avoids touching me. He says it's not personal, that he has an aversion in general. He doesn't explore. He doesn't initiate. Everything feels rushed, mechanical, disconnected. I've cried more times than I can remember. We've argued so much that talking about it now feels pointless. At one point, he told me it felt like more work than it was worth. That sentence never left my head. Now, even when he tries, it feels forced, unnatural, like he's doing a chore instead of connecting with his wife. And I hate that it makes me feel guilty for wanting something so basic. He says he didn't have experience before me. Sometimes he uses that as the reason. Other times, he mentions struggles of his own. I don't even know what's true anymore. What I do know is how it's changed me. I avoid movies with romantic scenes. I tense up when friends talk about their relationships. I feel embarrassment instead of desire. I've started telling myself stories just to survive it, that it won't matter when I'm older, that I should stop wanting, that this part of life just isn't for me. And the scariest part? I've made him uncomfortable enough that now, intimacy doesn't even feel safe for either of us. I don't feel angry anymore. I feel tired. I feel sad. And I feel alone, even while married. I don't know if pushing forward is strength, or if it's slowly teaching myself not to need. And maybe the real question isn't how to keep going like this. Maybe it's how long someone can ignore their own needs before they stop recognizing themselves at all. Some marriages don't break loudly. They fade quietly until wanting feels like something you're ashamed of, and no one else ever knows. I thought I was being a bad friend for wanting distance, but slowly I realized something much worse. I wasn't drifting away from my best friend of 18 years. I was trying to escape her. We've been best friends since 7th grade. We're both 32 now. I live in the U.S. She lives in Europe. Distance never broke our friendship, until it started feeling like surveillance instead of connection. She needed to know where I was at all times. If I didn't message for a day, she'd ask if I'd fallen asleep. If I went on vacation, she demanded voice messages so she could be in the moment with me. She wouldn't watch my Instagram stories. She wanted separate photos, separate videos, just for her. The control crept in quietly. If I had a cocktail, she warned me I'd become an alcoholic. If I visited my cousin, she asked for photos of their house and got upset when I said I don't photograph people's homes. She judged my clothes, zoomed in on my body, questioned my intentions. She said I shouldn't wear shorts past 25. She reposted my travel videos as if they were hers, just to see how people would react. And somehow, I let all of it slide. Whenever I tried to grow, she followed, but not to support me. I started learning Chinese. She signed up too and insisted she was smarter than me. If I struggled, she mocked it. If I succeeded, she competed. She told me she'd be more educated than me one day. She told me people were jealous of her intelligence. She even claimed to have supernatural powers. Talked about curses, signs from the universe, hallucinations. And still, I stayed. The moment I finally broke wasn't dramatic. I told her I'd made a private list in my diary, things I wanted to work on in my life. She demanded to see it. I ignored her. She kept asking. So I whited out the personal parts and sent it anyway. And the second I did, I felt it. I had just given away the last piece of myself. That was still only mine. I spent 14 years talking to her every day. Years I could have spent building real connections. I don't know if I'll ever want a best friend again. And if I do, I'll never let someone that close to my life or my family. But one thing I know for sure, losing her wasn't losing a friend. It was getting myself back. I'm turning 30 this year, and I still live in my mom's basement with my husband, not because life happened, but because every time I try to move forward, his money choices pull me right back. I'm 29. My husband is 31. For years, I told him my one clear goal. By 30, I want us out of my mom's basement. Last year, to help his credit, I took out a personal loan in my name because my APR was 8% and his would have been nearly 30%. The plan was simple. Use the loan to pay off his big debts. That's not what happened. He used all the money, but didn't pay off what he was supposed to. And now, he doesn't even help me make the loan payments. Every time I ask to sit down and go through his debts, he gets annoyed, defensive, dismissive. It feels like talking to a brick wall that somehow still has access to my bank account. I started a no-spend year. No extras. No fun money. Just gas and food. So we can finally move out by the end of this year. I buy groceries. I pack his lunches. I stretch every dollar. Then this morning, I check my account. Our joint account, which is really his account, was overdrawn. Why? Because he was buying food at work and door-dashing food at home, while the fridge was full, while I'm scraping by, while we don't get paid for another week. That's when it hit me. I'm not broke. I'm being drained. I'm trying to build a future. He's living like there's no tomorrow. I've thought about moving out alone, not to be petty, but just to finally breathe. And the hardest part? It feels like his lack of responsibility is keeping me stuck in a life I've outgrown. I don't want luxury. I don't want perfection. I just want progress. But I can't grow if I'm the only one planting seeds while he keeps spending them. And I don't know how much longer I can carry both of us without losing myself. I've only been married for 6 months, and I'm already realizing something that scares me. I don't think my wife married me. I think she married what I could provide. And now that the wedding is over, I feel like I'm living with someone who's already checked out. I'm 35. My wife is 33. We're newlyweds, less than half a year in. Before we got engaged, things felt solid. We laughed together. We were affectionate. We spent time together just because we wanted to. But once the engagement ring was on her finger, everything slowly started to change. At first, I told myself it was just stress. Wedding planning can do that, right? Planning the wedding became her entire world. Every conversation, every spare minute. And somehow, there was no room left for us. Not intimacy, just presence. Sitting together, talking, laughing. She always had a reason not to connect. Too tired, too stressed, too distracted. And the reasons kept getting smaller and more absurd, while the emotional distance kept growing. What hit me later was this pattern. Once she gets what she wants, her effort disappears. I started noticing it everywhere. She changes jobs every year or two, never wants to stay in the same apartment long, cycles through friendships, constantly shopping, constantly chasing the next thing. I told myself I was different, that with me, she'd finally settle. Instead, I'm the one left wondering why I didn't see this sooner. Financially, I've carried almost everything. Between her rings, the destination wedding, the dress, and most of our living expenses, I've spent around $35,000. And every time I hesitated, she'd say, "Once we get through this, I'll finally relax." Well, everything's done now. And instead of closeness, I hear, "I need space. I feel smothered. I need alone time." I travel for work 2 or 3 nights a week. When I'm home, I still handle the routines. Working out, walking the dogs, cooking, cleaning. She mostly scrolls on her phone or watches TV. If I stay busy, she says I'm never present. If I slowed down to spend time with her, she says I never do anything. Whatever I do, it's wrong, because the rules change every day. Even decisions that don't matter turn into arguments. Where I park, which leash I grab, how I do basic tasks. And if I finally get frustrated, suddenly I'm the problem. I'm told I'm insecure, that I can't handle my emotions. The hardest part isn't the lack of intimacy. It's realizing that I feel more like a resource than a partner, like the version of her I fell in love with only existed until the boxes were checked. Marriage didn't bring us closer. It revealed the truth. And now I'm left asking myself whether I ignore the signs or just didn't want to believe them. Love shouldn't feel like a transaction, and marriage shouldn't feel this lonely, this early. I don't know what the next step is yet, but I do know this. Resentment doesn't disappear on its own. And if I don't face this now, I'll wake up years from today, wondering why I stayed silent when I first saw the cracks.